Next session, his name is Gregory Lewis. He's an agent with the Enforcement Division of the Texas Alcoholic Beverage Commission. He's worked for over 15 years as an enforcement agent, and he has a lot of good information to put out today. Let's give a warm welcome to Gregory Lewis.
Thank you. That's it. I'll be going now. No, just kidding. First of all, I want to thank you all for your service. I greatly appreciate that. It's fabulous. And I'm going to dive into a lot of stuff. So give a couple minutes here until some more people kind of come in, find some seats. I'm a wanderer. I don't like being stuck behind podiums. I feel very anchored that way, so I tend to wander. If this bothers you, I'll go back and I'll hide behind the podium. Is it good? You sure? Yeah. Now, you understand that this opens you up to where I can, pinpoint you out, especially the nefarious types. If you sit near the back wall, you guys are number one on the list always. That was a good one. All right, let's roll into it. As I go through, the way this really works, and the best way I found over the 12, 13 years I've been teaching this, it works the best when you guys ask questions as we go along, because it gets the questions in the moment while we're talking about it. If it's something that's later on, then I'll tell you to hold the question because I know where we're at with this. But by and large, if we're at a point where you have a question, ask. That's the most important part about this, is asking. This is going to answer a lot of the questions you have or didn't know you had until you're sitting here. So let's roll in. I'm going to kill you guys first a little bit with definitions. And really what this boils down to is this right here, guys. It's what our term we use in TABC is called voluntary compliance. If you guys are doing the right thing, then you're really not going to see us. If we get a complaint and we come out, we work the complaint, we're going to work it, we're in, we're out, we're done. We may do an open inspection and we're done. I know there's going to be some other issues. I'll come up at the end, and I didn't even think about it. It just occurred to me. Have y'all had issues with the self-compliance application? Okay, so we'll discuss that after this, because I know that's been an issue. We've been getting a lot of those. The self-compliance thing is basically, what it boils down to, guys, is we don't have a lot of people. And we have a lot more licensed premises in the state. We have pushing 60,000 licensed locations in the state, including grocery stores, restaurants, bars, wineries, distilleries, breweries, everything else. We have roughly 200 agents for the whole state. That's it. And if you take out the ones that are either retiring or still in the training program, 170, 180 agents. Auditors, we have about 200 and change, not even that, I'd say less than 200 auditors. So it's just a matter of numbers. So they came up with that self-compliance system. This is really the big thing. But if you guys are doing the right thing, even if someone complains, we're in, we're out, no harm, no foul. Done. Let's start with this one. This is y'all. A licensee or permittee. It's going to be a person who is a holder of a TABC issued license or permit provided in this code, or any agent, servant, or employee of that person. Let's start with the easy one, employees. If you're there, you're working in canteen, you're working as a bartender or a server, that is your house. Treat it as such. If something occurs on a location, you guys sell to a person who's intoxicated, you guys sell during after hours or some other violation of the code, it falls on you and the licensed premise. At that moment in time, you are a representative of that location. The next one down is going to be, let's talk about an agent. So an agent kind of gets weird. It's not necessarily going to be in your situation. Rarely, I've never seen it for you guys. Because typically most of y'all are with private clubs. A lot of y'all, some do have open, but the majority are private clubs. Okay. So you're not going to see a whole lot. But an agent can be a situation where you have, y'all ever been to a bar and someone comes up and they're like, hey, would you like to try Captain Morgan? And they give you a shot of Captain Morgan. Or if you order a Fireman 4, they pay for it. Okay. For that moment in time, even though they're working for a distributor or a company that goes out and markets this stuff, a marketing company, if they commit that violation, and let's say, hey, would you like to try some Captain Morgan? And he's 3 sheets to the wind. At that moment, I'm an employee of that American Legion, according to the code, because I performed a service to a patron under that roof. You guys get that? It's very rare for y'all in that situation. That's going to be mostly your average bar. So that's why this is glossed over. Let's talk about the servant. That's someone who comes in and works for free. Now, I know a lot of y'all do volunteer work and you're not necessarily getting paid, but in a lot of other situations we have, say, we'll run into this a lot like convenience stores, where, you know, oh, I'm not feeling good today, and is it Kenneth or Ken? And Ken's my best buddy, he's my next door neighbor. Dude, can you open the store for me? I'm about to blow off, you know. So he goes over to the store, and that day TABC does a minor sting, and guess what? He sells to a minor. And he immediately, well, I'm not a regular employee, I'm just helping my friend out. Well, guess what? Did he perform a service in that location to a patron of that location? Yes. So it's the same thing. Regardless if he was paid or a regular employee or not, he still qualifies. An employee, that's easy, guys. That's someone who's on the clock, someone who works there regularly, who's on the schedule. So that's pretty obvious on that. This is probably the easiest one in there. For the purposes of the Alcoholic Beverage Code, a minor is someone who's under 21 years of age. Now in Texas, a minor on a penal code definition is under 17. Then you go to juvie instead of county jail. But for the Alcoholic Beverage Code, 21. That's it. There's some caveats. We're going to talk about the caveats to minors in possession and all that bit here a little bit when we get down to it. But for now, this is easy. I'm going to spend a lot of time on this one. This is the definition of intoxication. It's taken from the Texas Penal Code. So basically not having normal use of mental or physical faculties by introduction of alcohol, controlled substance, a drug, or combination of this. Start with the easy one. Alcohol. Is alcohol, does that impair you? It most certainly does, right? That's an easy one. That's straight off. Let's talk about where it gets weird is we start diving into controlled substances, medications. In my career, I've been in law enforcement just over 22 years, since December '97. In my 22 years in law enforcement, I have seen a huge change in, say, occasionally you would get someone that was out of their gourd on pain meds or psychotropic medications. That was very rare. So pain management stuff is going to be like your Oxycontin, hydrocodone, the list is long. Psychotropic stuff is going to be your anti-anxiety, antidepressants, antipsychotic medications. In 22 years of law enforcement, I've seen a huge increase in the number of people that have been dealt with either by bars when talking to them, or even personally on the street, or when we're making cases, where someone has maybe only had one drink of alcohol, but they're loaded down on Xanax. All right? So it's something kind of, so you guys get an idea, and it could occur where y'all are at, but it can be as simple as, I'm going to pick on Dan here. Dan comes in, he sits down, and there's a nice lady sitting next to him, but he's nervous as hell. So he sneaks off and he takes a bar of Xanax to feel better. 15, 20 minutes later, he still can't get up the nerve to talk to her, he takes another bar or two. If you take 2 or 3 bars of Xanax, he's probably drifting off the la-la land real fast, right? So what happens? So now, what's your name? So Kevin over here serves Dan a beer, right, to help wash down the 3 Xanax that are stuck in his throat. And now he's falling off the bar stool. Was he intoxicated from the beer or the Xanax? From the Xanax. But is Ken still Kevin is Ken. There's your name tag right there. All right, it's early. Kevin sells to Dan over here. Did he commit a violation? Yes. But was it for the beer? Yeah. Was Dan already intoxicated? Was it alcohol? No. But was he intoxicated? Are you guys understanding how that works? Same thing with pain management stuff. How many of y'all take pain meds? Right? The last one. This is where things go wrong. This is where you got to take a lesson from Greg here. I made this mistake. Let's see. I broke my foot. Oh gosh, it was the year before last. Yeah, I wish it was a good story. I'm pulling the hose in my yard, and there was a low spot. You know, how many of y'all live here in Central Texas on the black dirt? Right? What happens when it dries out? Can you lose a small dog in them cracks? Yes. So I rolled my foot off in there, broke my foot, and had surgery, put a screw in there, put it all back together. I'm coming out of anesthesia, and my fiance was working, she couldn't, she was at a conference, so I made the big mistake. My ex-wife took me to the hospital. I'm coming to after surgery, and she's there with the doctor. I promise this is a true story. And I'm like fuzzy, I'm coming out, and doctor says, well, you might want to, he's going to be in a lot of pain afterwards, I'm sure, so you might want to take him one of these. And I'm like, oh, hey, he goes, oh, we're going to give you a tramadol. Okay. Never again, guys. That was a 2-day migraine and crazy dreams, man. Like, I'll never do that again. I should have known better because hydrocodone made like elephants come out the wall when I had a kidney stone a couple years ago. I was like, So the lesson learned, kids, don't let your ex-wife take you to the hospital. It's a true story. My ex-wife hates when I tell that story, but it's true. Okay, so on that one, pain management stuff. What does it tell you on the bottle? Do not do what? Do not drink alcohol or drive, right? Operate machinery. Is a car a machine? Yes. Is a motorcycle a machine? Yes. Okay. What happens when you take this stuff is the alcohol magnifies the effects of the medication. Have some of you all seen, where someone comes in, they seem fine, they order one beer or a glass of wine or a shot, and 2 minutes later they're falling off the bar stool and you have no idea why. Not necessarily for you guys, but out on other places and more open bars, it's becoming more and more of an issue, especially in places that are more metropolitan, like here in Austin, San Antonio, Houston. It's becoming a huge issue. You have to monitor these people. When you see it happen, you've already served them, you can't roll back time. But at that moment, you can do one of these, you can immediately go, hey, have you got a friend that can come get you? Did you come here with someone? Start mitigating this circumstance. Well, if you're here by yourself, tell you what, let's call you a cab. Let's get you an Uber, let's get you a Lyft. Some of the best insurance for you guys, get you a 10-cent pen and a 50-cent notebook. Write it down. On this day, what's her name? Celia came in, and she, I don't know what happened, we served her a glass of wine, she halfway through it, she fell off the bar stool and passed out, and she's incoherent. At that point, call an ambulance, right? My feeling on this, guys, is something I tell all my bars when I go talk to them is if someone wants to be stupid in public, oblige them. She took 2 hydrocodone before she decided to come out and have a glass of wine with y'all, right? Now she's falling off the bar stool because of wine interacting with the hydrocodone. Let her take the trip to the ER, cover yourselves, write it down. It's that simple. Because the liability clock just went off the moment you said that glass of wine in front of her, okay? And of course, a combination, guys. Actually, let me back up. So on drugs, this is something else too. I started 22 years ago, we had your happy stoners. They were no big deal. They were like, whatever, dude, just like pour the weed out and get down the road. That's changed. With everything else, better, more, stronger. So guys used to be on weed that were happy stoners. Now they get angry, they want to fight because whatever is mixed in with the weed is making them go nuts. Other stuff, my God, the list is long, guys. It's getting crazy. We have things like fentanyl, and which is like super, super strong. It's crazy. We have notices that come out all the time in law enforcement world about the new versions of all this stuff. Don't touch it, don't breathe it, don't do this. There's also collapsing paramedics, firefighters that get exposed to this stuff. Along with that, it's always more potent. It's more. So you have to just pay attention to your people. If one of your regular customers comes in and they seem out of sorts, start mitigating the situation. Get them a ride, get them out of there, find a friend, get them a Lyft, get an Uber, get a taxi, something. If worst case comes to worst, call an ambulance. You want your friend to come back. And at the bottom one, guys, of course, is 0.08 or more. But do you have to be 0.08 to be intoxicated? Absolutely not. And I made my share of DWI arrests back in the day when I was a patrol officer that they were under 0.08 because all they had to demonstrate, they had a lack of mental or physical faculties. Everybody's tolerance levels are different. Different. You're going to have your pro drinkers. You're going to have the ones that can drink down a kegger and they're fine. And then you have people like me that my tolerance has gone down since high school, and so like I can 2 beers and I'm done. So it's the city sheet did it because I grew up in El Paso. What's there to do in El Paso? Drink, right? So that's all we did. I either went to Juarez or went out in the desert. So it's one of those things. There wasn't much to do out there. Dude, is there anything to do anyway? I didn't go back like 2 days max and I'm ready to come back. Okay, so not much has changed there. All right, public intoxication, guys. Basically, y'all's place is a public place 24/7. Even though you might have membership lists or you guys are private per se, but according to Alcohol Beverage Code, you're technically still a public location. That means you fall under certain things. If we explain it, I'll cover that. All right, so let's talk about intoxicant there or not there. Basically, in the code, it's a violation for you to be intoxicated at your place of employment. If you're behind a bar and you're doing drinks and you're getting lit up with your buddies, guess what? It's a violation. Why? If you're intoxicated, can you make good decisions about that person sitting in front of you? That's exactly it, sir. It impairs your judgment. The other side of that too is what ends up happening. He's behind the bar and I come in there and I'm his best bud. I think he started hooking me up a little bit, maybe a long pour. Exactly. So that's what you guys have to be careful of that. That's why we go after the permittees as well as the customers. We hold more liability on the permittees because you guys are in charge. You're the one controlling it. You're the one monitoring it. Most places, by and large, I've never come across anywhere in Texas anywhere where they let the customer go behind the bar and fix themselves a drink. You guys are the gatekeeper. You control it. Can I go back? Oh, we're out. Yes, sir.
Question on the third bullet for the licensee permittee on the licensed premises, even if off duty.
Right.
So does that mean, explain that one a little bit then.
Certainly. So we'll go back. It's my day off. Okay. I'm like, you know what though, I've had a long day, been mowing the yard, washed the car. I'm going to hang out and have a few drinks. My buddy's behind the bar. It's my day off, right? Normally I covered it in the nights, but I was doing stuff all day. You know, today's my day off, let me go hang out and have a cold beer. Do I still work at the American Legion? Is it my day off? He's my buddy. What happens if I start getting lit up there? Because he's hooking me up with long pours or extra shots. You see, that's why we put a lot of emphasis on this. So I can give you an example of a case, how it works out, why we put so much on or off duty. And I know you're looking at me, why does it matter on or off duty? Because if you're off, are you still an employee there? Do you still know the rules? Does it?
Can you go in and have a beer, or is it no drinking beer?
So remember though, intoxication.
Okay.
That's the line. The same applies actually, if you're working behind the bar, you can sit there and drink with your buddies. You can drink, but you can't be drunk. Is that cleared up for you guys? Okay. So if I went in there and had a beer, then I'm good. What we got?
There.
Yes, sir.
You say licensing permittee.
Yeah.
As an officer of the post,
Yes, that would be you.
I'm on the license.
Yes.
So even though I never serve anybody, my name is on the license. So if I'm intoxicated, I'm in violation.
Yes.
But if another post member who's not on the license is intoxicated, we just stop serving and we find them a ride home.
Now, if they're listed as a member, because the way we do it with American Legions is we're going to have, like yourself, we'll have the commander and we'll have the other people that are listed directly underneath that are in charge of that post. Okay. Then what is it? That's the ones we look at that are direct licensees or permittees in that location. So, so you guys get it. Licensee basically is like your license permittee is like typically if they have a permit, but generically we just use permittee across the board. So if I start switching off and just say permittee, and I'll get yours in sec, then you got, so I don't lose you all. So basically as a permittee, you're on there because you're listed as an officer under our records, okay? Same thing applies to any one of these other persons over here too, agent, servant, or employee. Does that kind of help clear that up?
I think so.
Okay. So, yeah, so it basically boils down as drink, but don't be drunk. if you're one of these people at that American Legion, if you're one of these folks, you can drink, but don't be drunk. Yes, sir.
So you're saying that a American Legion post, if a bartender is behind the bar, they can drink while they're serving drinks?
Yes. No. Now, I'm not covering y'all's policy. I'm covering state law. So if your policy is stricter, that's fine. Your policy can always be stricter than state law. We don't have an issue, as long as it doesn't conflict with state law. So technically, under Texas law, you can be behind a bar and you can drink a beer with your buddy that's sitting across from you. You can drink, but you can't be drunk. Right. Well, I just say it that way so it's easy to remember, drink and drunk. So that way, but yeah, you can drink, but you just can't be intoxicated if you want to. Exactly. Does that help clear that up for you guys? Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to clear, if you were talking about the commander, if their license is under, their name is on the license, then they're just as responsible. What about the rest of the officers that have been voted in? Are they liable even though they don't hold a permit because they are officers of that post?
Yes.
So if...
Now where we have to start, where it gets muddy, is you have to start thinking about, okay, if, easy black and white, we go into your post. We do a statement. We send, whether they're present or not. Okay, so we do the way it will work. I'm going to give you the easy scenario, then I'll give you a muddy one. Easy scenario. We go in, we get a complaint, you guys are selling intoxicated people. We send one of our guys in, you guys sell, okay? And let's make it really easy, you're an open canteen, right? So guy goes in, and we're observing, and we watch one of your employees overserve one of the patrons. Boom, that's an easy one, sell intox, done. The criminal charge goes against the bartender, administrative charge goes against the permit, the American Legion permit.
But I'm talking about the other officers like the treasurer.
No, not individually. Now, that's cut and dry, black and white, how it typically handles. Let's get muddy. Patron's in there, has too many drinks, leaves, has a car crash, and kills somebody. The victim's family now can come back, and they're going to sue every employee and every officer that's listed on the American Legion, and that's in civil court. We don't have any control over that. The only thing we're going to do is present the evidence that our findings for a selling intox case or our investigation that we found that that person left out of there and they were overserved alcohol. We'll present the evidence if we're subpoenaed. But
I'm saying the officers, let's say you've got your first vice and your treasurer, you're not even there.
doesn't matter.
They're still liable
Yes.
for what happened in the American Legion.
Yes. Yep. Yes, ma'am.
So, in many American Legions, our executive board has nothing to do with our canteen, per se. We have a house committee or we have someone else over that. Like our command, we have a canteen manager. Our commander doesn't have anything to do with the canteen.
So, like I'm saying, guys, administratively, from the TABC standpoint, black and white, it goes against the permit when there's a violation like that. It doesn't go against individual persons for the sale. Okay, for the sale, service, or delivery to an intoxicated person. On our side, it's black and white. It's against the permit, and then criminally against that person specifically that overserved. Civil liability, totally different ballpark. They can sue anybody and everybody they want to, and they're going to name everybody. We don't control that. The only control we have in that is, well, basically we get subpoenaed and we got to show up and testify.
What?
But I want to make sure, because I heard you, I want to make sure we're all on the same page. If I'm the commander of the post, I have nothing to do with the cantina. I have a cantina manager. He takes care of everything. I walk in because I'm on the license, the TABC license. I walk into the canteen and I proceed to get wasted. You guys walk in, I've committed a crime.
Yes. Yes, you would, because you're listed as an officer on that permit. Right. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, when we did our license, we were kind of behind and went back and looked, and some of our people on the license were no longer there or have deceased. And they told us that it was by positions, like it had to be, they call them different in the civilian world, but the commander, president, or whatever, the secretary, or for us, adjutant, and I can't remember what the other one was. So they told us it was by position, so we're the three that are signed. I can't remember what the third one is. So,
Like I said, on
be
ours.
careful who you elect, I think.
Well, and here's, you guys have to understand, I want to clear this up as best I can. There's two parts of this. There's going to be the TABC action, and then there's going to be the civil side. And the civil side typically only comes up if something went catastrophically wrong. On our side, we're not going to go after the individual person unless it was like him who came in and he's an officer on that permit and he came in and was hammered, then that would be different. But by and large, most of the cases we have, the issues we have with American Legions is going to be sell to intoxicated people, sell during prohibited hours, I just went blank. I'm sorry. Selling on member, for as far as the public safety side, that has been an issue, but it's not a public safety issue, and we really don't push those. We just kind of let it slide, and a lot of those, that'll be like a warning, like, don't do it again. Because we respect you guys. So it's one of these, now, if it becomes a habit, and you guys are basically running an open canteen, but you still have a private club permit, then that'll be a separate issue, and we'll address that. But the one-off, no, I'm going to get you guys for that. So your question.
Scott Dollar, Post 560 Houston. I'm also a deputy with Harris County Sheriff's Office. You may be covering this later, but can you go over attribution and whether or not our bartenders are legally required to be certified to serve by TABC?
Okay, so as far as your question goes, no, there's no requirement in the Alcoholic Beverage Code anywhere that requires them to be sober certified. It's not written anywhere. However, in the administrative rule books, the way it's written in there is in order for the licensed location to get what we call a safe harbor, which is a break from administrative action, and it only applies to a couple violations. Sell to intoxicated people and sell to minors. For those two violations, if all the employees were seller server trained at the time, and there's like 6 caveats, and I'll cover it again later on, and they meet the caveats in there, and basically what happens is instead of the administrative case going against an American Legion, it turns into a warning. It's a restraint case. Now, the criminal action against the employee still continues on, but as far as the permit goes, it's like ollie oxen free. That's your free pass. So that's why a lot of places say if you want that safe harbor, you want to be able to eligible for that, they make all their employees get seller server trained. But I hear it all the time, oh, is it the law? No, it's not law. There's no law that requires you to be seller server trained. There is no license for being a bartender. You're next. Let me get him back here.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
Verbiage difference. PEC, Post-Executive Committee, that's our verbiage. Could be as little as 6, could be 9 or 10. They're elected and are appointed members. Now we're talking differential in verbiage. The permittees on the license. In your scenario.
Which one?
Okay. By the law.
Because that's why I gave the easy,
Yeah.
and then I gave where it gets muddy when things go wrong.
Yeah, by the law. By the law. The only ones held by that are the ones listed on the permit, correct?
In the first scenario, the administrative action we take does not go against one specific individual. Administrative.
Right.
Follow me, guys. Administrative. So because when we do a case, typically there's 2 parts. So if you sold to an intoxicated person, there's 2 parts. There's the administrative side, that goes against the permit. The second one would be criminal, that goes against the individual. Administratively, if we went in and we made a case for a sell to an intoxicated person, that's going to go against the bartender.
Right.
Okay? The administrative case goes against the permit itself. Now, catastrophic situation, person left out of there, I'm working a source investigation, I figured out he was at your location, he was overserved, I was able to figure out either from video statements, credit card receipts, whatever, he was overserved. The guy left out of there, okay, kill somebody, then that's in civil court. We don't have any control in it, guys. That's basically gonna be, his family is gonna open a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And on these civil litigation lawsuits, his attorney is gonna name everybody that was there working and everybody that's listed on the command, the post commander, and everybody and their mother that's
So
on
it's
it.
all inclusive with your PEC that have been placed in that civil court scenario.
Yeah, we don't control that, guys. So they're gonna go after everybody. And then the way that typically works out is, then each person individually, well, you need to get you an attorney to get you off of that lawsuit. And then it'll finally matriculate down to going against the American Legion as itself, and then that person who is directly responsible for the over-service.
Question,
Yes.
can a minor consume alcohol if the alcohol is bought by the parent and handed to the minor?
Yes, and we're gonna get to that. So what we're gonna do before we keep going down these rabbit trails, because that's coming up real soon. We're gonna keep rolling along. Did that kind of help clear that up, guys? Because the biggest chunk is, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Yes. Yes.
How do you, if you're incorporated, can the individuals that are on the permit, the commander and all that, be sued? If your post is incorporated?
Yes, in Texas, we don't have tort reform. So basically, you can sue anybody for any reason in Texas. And again, we don't, as TABC, we have zero control in civil litigation cases. None. So, no, ma'am. They're gonna sue anyway, and it'll be up to your attorneys to fight it out and get you out of that. And like I said, we don't control the civil litigation side. Yeah.
You know, your permit for 2 years, we are at post level is elected for 1 year. Now, as post commander, I signed the permit, but next year I'm voted out.
That's no big deal. It's easy with us. All you do is you contact TABC and we do a change of officers form. It's real simple to do.
Along that same line, what he was referring to, if you have a bar committee and you also have your officers, who is responsible to update the list with TABC once the names change? Is it the bar people or is it the commander of that post?
So that's something that as far as determining whose responsibility in your organization is to update, that's not on us. All we care is about someone getting it to us. So that'll be something y'all need to decide who's in charge of that. As long as we get that notice, then we're good. But wherever y'all decide, like, tag, you're it, well, then, that'll be on y'all. As long as we get the paper, we don't care who's in charge of taking care of that. Where were we? Let's see. Here we go. I'm about to really muddy y'all's heads. Let's talk about criminal negligence. Guys, when you guys fail to do certain things, some very simple, basic things, then you act with criminal negligence. So what are simple things? Checking IDs. Now in Texas, I want you to understand this. In Texas, there is no requirement written anywhere. This is how I screw up brand new agents when I'm training them. There's no requirement anywhere that says you have to have an ID to purchase alcohol. Nowhere. Follow me, guys. Remember, I'm saying state law. There's nothing written anywhere in state law, anywhere that says you have to have an ID to buy alcohol. The liability falls on the retailer. It falls on y'all. If your deal is you only take driver's licenses from Mars, well, that's your rules, and guess what? Someone can complain and call TABC all day, and I'm gonna tell them, hey, you know what? That's their rules. Go somewhere else or go to Mars and get your driver's license. Can't help you. You can be as strict as you want to be as long as you don't violate the legally protected class. It's that simple, okay? Calculate the age. Guys, this is not real hard. If they present you a driver's license, and the driver's license is vertical in nature, which means they're underage, it says in big red letters, under 21 until, okay? It's amazing. My daughter did stings for us, like she was 14 until she aged out at 19. And I never did the undercover because that way they couldn't do the whole like, oh, but your dad was there. No. So I always did the open, so I had to go in there and tell them, hey, your employee sold to our minor, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, she lied, she says she's 21. Of course, in my head, I'm like screaming, like, no way, dude, I was there, I cut the cord, man. It's like, I was there. I cut the cord on July 15, 1998. I was there. Don't give me this. Sign here, press hard. But I can't tell them that. When you guys refuse to overserve patrons, so basically you have someone that's intoxicated and you don't stop service, you keep serving them, all right? You act with criminal negligence. Remember, you're the gatekeeper. You control the flow. You fail to look for signs of intoxication. Who's never been drunk in here? That's what I thought. Good point. He said, I need to rephrase it. Drunk in this room or drunk in... Okay. Drunk at this moment. No, just... So we know the signs, right? We've all been there. We've all hated ourselves. I think the last time I really hated myself, I hate Uncle Tito, because that one screwed me up a couple years ago. Yeah, that was... Woo! That was rough. I gotta go back to my Spedka, man. That Tito's did not make me happy the next day. Make sure you guys train staff. I'm going off on a lot of rabbit trails in here, but basically this is a presentation we give to employees and bars everywhere for free. You just have to call. A lot of our regional offices have a scheduled training class every month. Here in Austin, we do it the second and fourth Monday of every month at 2 o'clock at our headquarters. It's free.
That's awesome.
I have a lot of bars here in Austin. Every time you get new employees, guess what? Hey, guess what you're doing next Monday? Going to TABC and go sit in their class. I have a ton of bars where I go out and I talk to them once or twice a year. In fact, tomorrow night, I've got one I'm going to talk to. I talk to them about twice a year. So it's free, guys, and it's a good awakening. It helps them refresh a lot of stuff. When we do inspections, how many of y'all seen when we come in and done inspections, right? Either like this or shirt and tie. Now, inspections can also manifest themselves in other ways. We may do a minor sting. How many of y'all had your place and we've done a minor sting with y'all? I'm sure there's a few, right? So you raise a hand. You guys didn't sell to the minor, did you? Good job. So, it could also undercover operations. We send in undercover agents to go in there and make a case. And yeah, we have, just in case you're wondering, yes, we do have agent. We've gone in, and yeah, it could be like you were saying earlier, sell to a non-member, but generally that's going to be like a warning on that. We're going for the big fish. We're going for sell to an intoxicated person, sell to a minor, something like that. There are certain violations that will put you on a priority list. There's basically 6 violations. The list, I apologize, I haven't had a chance to go in here and rearrange this PowerPoint. But it's kind of changed up a little bit. And I want to cover it for y'all just because your eyes and ears and we're out in the public, you're out in the world. But number 1 now is human trafficking. Human trafficking, guys, is huge. In our world in TABC land, this is nothing new. This is something we've been dealing with. This is something I've dealt with in my entire career with TABC. My first year and a half was in Houston working undercover because I'm bilingual. So I spent the majority of my Fridays and Saturday nights in Canal Street. Yeah, anybody from Houston, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So, tag, I'm it. I'm the designated one. So yeah, you're making your $50 a month. Go talk Spanish. Yeah. So on that deal, guys, that's huge. If you guys see it, you suspect it, and not necessarily at y'all's place. It's not going to be, I doubt where y'all are at. But if you're out somewhere, you see it, you suspect it, call, report it. It may be bogus, it may come true. Signs are pretty simple. Simply, you'll see someone really young, someone's kind of age inappropriate for the group, and the girl, won't be very communicative with the staff. Their handler's going to make all the orders for them, and their handler's going to be male or female. Their handler's going to make all the orders. And think of it this way, a big clue too is how many girls have y'all seen that are older than 10 that don't have a cell phone on them? Not many, right? Very few. But it's not just one thing. You have to do kind of the totality of circumstances. They're sitting there, no cell phone. It's 105 degrees outside, they're wearing long sleeves because they're hiding track marks or bruises. The girl gets up and goes to the bathroom, and her handler gets up and positions themselves where they can see down the hall. Simple things, guys. If you suspect it, call it. It's in the media about once a week now where someone has called and said, hey, something's not right, and someone has been saved. There was that little girl, was it like 2 weeks ago, right? Where a couple's like, that doesn't, I think that's the guy, I think that's the car. And they called, and guess what? They saved that girl. Simple things, guys. Be the eyes and ears. So next one up for you guys, let's talk about minors. Well, sell or service to alcoholic beverages to minors. That's huge. Sell intoxicated people. We push a lot on this, and I know people go, oh yeah, well, people go to bars to go drink. Yes, but there's that line, drink and drunk. Because then what happens? They drive, right? Your hardcore alcoholics that cause DWIs, in my experience, are typically narcissists. Who else do you know can sit there, hammer down 4 beers, and then tell you, oh, I know when to stop drinking. Yeah, or I'm good. Dude, you've had 5 beers. Oh, I'm good. Yeah, oh yeah, that's my favorite. I've been way worse than this. Really? Good answer. Guys, these are your narcissists. Really think about how much money you make on each drink. Wholesale price of Bud Light running about 89 to 93 cents, depending on how much volume you're running. Right? So let's make a nice even number to do math. I got a professor at UTL Pastor. Is that fair? You can write that's fair, because he said the answer would come out even. So let's say 90. Is that good? All right, in the words of Mr. Alvarez, is that fair? So 90 cents. You guys sell them for how much? $2.75. We'll stick with even numbers, just like Mr. Alvarez. $3? Okay, $3. So in the spirit of Mr. Alvarez, we'll go $3. That beer costs 90 cents wholesale. That's what you're paying for. $3 is what you're selling. By the time you pay utilities and overhead and everything else, what's your net? 25, 35 cents on each bottle of beer? Maybe. If that, on a good day? So, you serve someone who comes in there, 6 beers. He gets in his car and kills a family of 5. All right? In Houston, a couple days ago, there was a guy, I'm sure you read about it, and I was reading about it yesterday. The guy leaves out of a place, he's hammered, and he rear-ended a minivan. Killed a mom, baby sister, and that lady who was driving her mother. And I'm sure it comes out. I haven't dug deeper to see, but I'm sure when it comes out, if he left out of a bar, let's say he was sold 8 beers, 25 cents a beer, that's 3 lives lost for $2. And now, as an employer, you're working there, you're staring down the barrel of a $2 or $3 million lawsuit.
I will say, I don't know what every department policy is. I'm actually a DWI investigator. Whenever we work at intox assault or intox manslaughter case, as soon as we're done with the scene, we go to the establishment, we look for receipts in the vehicle, we interview the suspect, we go to whatever establishment they left, and we forward the information on to these guys, and we work in concert with these guys to make sure that that place is held accountable criminally.
And we'll talk about this here in a second, and I'll let you interject with quite a bit because you guys work some good cases out of Houston. But when we'll talk about this, we'll dive into dram shop liability and all this stuff, and then we'll kind of go from there. The next one, drugs. Not necessarily you guys' places, but other places you'll have the sale or use of narcotics. Employees are involved where they're allowing it to occur. So that'd be another one we look at. Breaches of the peace. That does fall on y'all. Breaches of the peace is a disturbance. Basically, you have 2 types, simple and aggravated. Simple breach, you all have 3 to 5 days to notify TABC in writing. You can do it with our app. You can do it online. If you go to our public website, on the right-hand side, it says, I want to report a breach of peace. Click, fill out the form, send it off. It's that easy. Or you can come to your local TABC office and do a written statement. An aggravated or a simple breach is basically no serious bodily injury, no deadly weapons were used. Push, shove, match. Okay? Aggravated breach, serious bodily injury, deadly weapons are used. I know in the rules it says if you call paramedic, EMS, or fire, guys, we really don't care about someone slipping in mop water. We're worried about someone pulling a gun on someone else, someone stabbing someone else. Okay? For instance, we had one here in Austin 2 weeks ago. That was at the Elks Lodge. Guy went in there, was told to take off his hat because that's their house rules. They told him about 3 times. On the 4th time, they tried to escort him out. He pulled a knife and stabbed one of the members. Okay, the member did not die. He survived, suffered some cuts, and the guy went to jail. But they reported it. It just came in the other day. So The reason we do that is if you're a problem place, not y'all, but if you're a problem place, we can start monitoring and we can start picking up on clues that you didn't see because we have the outside seat. How many of y'all been in a boxing match or a wrestling match? Is your view different than sitting in the stands? Much different, right? Totally different view. Same thing. We're on the outside looking in. For instance, I had a bar out here in Lakeway one time. They were having issues. Midnight, they kept killing a bunch of people coming in, causing problems with their regulars. Lakeway PD kept going out there. About the third time around, we dropped a couple cases on them for the breaches and not stopping them and failed to report. We have kind of this class. Started talking to them. They started telling me, well, at midnight, the people from this other bar, because they don't have a late hours permit, they're kind of trashy, they come down and they cause problems with our regulars. Oh, problem solved. Get a door guy. Get a door guy for them. I told them, get a door guy. So this has been going on for like 8 months. Get your door guy. Have someone there Fridays and Saturday nights, so when these idiots come down to the strip malls and they want to mess with your customers, tell them they're not welcome. Done. And they don't like it, and I told them, I said, you're in Lakeway PD, which Lakeway over here is kind of like if you mess around on a quiet night, you'll catch a reason to go to jail. So I told them, I said, and if they don't like it, call Lakeway PD. They'll drag them off. That simple. How many of y'all from Austin? Okay, so only like 3 guys in the back. You know what I'm talking about in Lakeway? Yeah. So yeah, simple. Fix your problem. Guess what? They started having a door guy. They started screening the people that were coming in there on Fridays and Saturday nights. The problem children quit showing up. Within a year, the regular customers came back and brought more people back with them. That place is still there. The other place, long gone. Simple fix because we were looking at the outside in. Yes, ma'am.
So, if we have a month where somebody goes out and slaps somebody or knocks them down in the parking lot or they fall in the parking lot, we don't have to do a breach.
Yes. That's exactly what you have to report on.
Okay.
Yeah. And here's the thing, this is where sometimes it's preventable. With guys, how many of y'all seen guys fight? We're idiots, right? We'll dance around each other for 30 minutes. Was that preventable? Should me and Ken been kicked out a long time ago before we ended up fighting in a parking lot? Yes. Okay. Now, I got cantinas here in Austin and I had one captain, he said, you need to go talk to him, Greg. I'm like, tell him what? It's like, how do you stop this? Ex-girlfriend, saw ex-boyfriend with new girlfriend, ex-girlfriend hits old girlfriend with a beer bottle. How do you stop that? You guys seen ladies fight, right? Is there any warning? Yeah, there's no warning. I had one here in Austin where they were doing karaoke and a lady is on stage and I guess another lady didn't like how she sang the song, and as she's walking by the table, she picked up a hot sauce bottle and whacked it over her head and knocked her out. And the way we found out about it was out in the media, because the newscasters were laughing, oh, this happened in Austin. I was like, yeah, that's all, I'm sorry. I was like, me and my partner were like, well, wait, let's see if they report that. So 3 days later, we went out there and we served them with the failed to report breach case and failed to report. So that was 2 violations right there. How'd you find out? The guy tells me in Spanish. I'm like, dude, it was all over the news. They were laughing at you. Well, we didn't know. I said, no, ignorance is not a defense. It's in the code.
And despite talking to lady, just because you have cops come out to your establishment, that's not reporting to TABC.
No.
Local law enforcement, we don't do reporting. That's on the track.
Yeah, that's separate, guys. If you have a fight and you call the cops and they show up, that doesn't count. What you need to do is, you guys have a fight, you call the cops show up. Do you have an incident number for this, or a CAD call number? And then when you tell TABC, hey, last night we had, these 2 dimwits fight over something, blah, 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 and we called the cops, they were taken to jail, blah, blah, blah. Here's the case number I was given by the deputy that showed up on scene. Because that way we can always go back and look it up. Thank you for pointing that out, I appreciate that. All right, and then cellular consumption during prohibited hours. There is no such thing as shift drinks. Remember I was talking about y'all are in a public place, okay? So how many of y'all have late hours? So let's start with late hours. Okay, so you have late hours at your post, and you guys, okay. So late hours means your service stops at what time? 2. Period. The last sale's at 2 o'clock. They can consume until what time? 2:15. Remember, I'm saying law. If your house rules and you're running bar time where your clock is fast, we're cool with that. We don't have an issue. You can breathe. It's okay. Now, here's the other side. We're going to give you a little bit. We're not going to walk in at 2:16 and go, we got you. No. We're going to give you a little bit of time. It's going to be plenty of time. So if we make that violation, it's going to be very hard for you guys to argue it and say that our watch was off by 2 minutes. No, and it doesn't help you have the door shut, because that actually, we've had that where we go in, it's after hours, we're banging on the door, TABC, and we hear bottles flying and tables moving, and we go in and everybody's got their head on the table like it's nap time in kindergarten, And yeah, is that still the case? Yes, actually that ends up 2, because 1, the inspection refusal, and then the after hours.
Well, you're allowed to be open. You can be open after 2 o'clock, you just can't be serving.
You can stay open. You can stay open 24/7. Okay. We don't have a problem with that. But your last sale is at what time? If you don't have late hours, and this is where it gets weird, Sunday through Friday in the standard hours area, your last sale is at what time? Midnight. Standard hours area, your last sale on Saturdays at what time? 1. There we go. 7 a.m. You get your early risers. So I worked the jail, I worked the overnight. We used to do we'd get off at 6 o'clock in the morning, we'd do choir practice in San Marcos, and then go to bed. That's right. That's right. All right. If you guys on prohibited hours, if you sell, you offer to sell, or permit people to consume at your premises after hours, it's a Class A misdemeanor, y'all. That's a year in jail, $4,000 fine for the criminal charge. So who can I pick on? I haven't picked on that. You know, this corner's gotten away from me. It's not happening. Not tag you're in. I should take a poll. How many of y'all named Dan? How many of y'all named Ken? Here's a very popular name. Okay, tag you're it, Dan. This is Dan 2, second Dan over here, Dan 2.0. So, Dan, all right, it's after hours, tired, had a busy night, cleaning up, and he's there with Mark and Joseph and Peter. He's there with his 3 buddies, they're cleaning up afterwards, and TABC comes by at 3 o'clock in the morning and they're drinking. Oh, we're just cleaning up, no big deal, sir. Let me tell you how this plays out. You get a Class A for permitting yourself because you work here. You get a Class A for permitting yourself because you work there. You're just sitting at the bar, you're hanging out. You get a Class C because you should have known better. It's just a simple ticket. For you, you're also drinking. You get one for permitting yourself and 2 separate ones for permitting these 2 guys each, because each one's a separate violation. So that would be 3 Class A misdemeanors for you. Actually, I'm sorry. It'd be 4, because you permitted yourself and then you permitted each one of these 3 guys. So that would be what, 4 years in jail and $16,000 would be the max. Then the administrative charge against the American Legion. It doesn't matter, because remember, it's the sell, permit the consumption. So even if you sold it or just permitted the consumption during prohibited hours. Right. I went in at what time? 3 a.m. Should them drinks have been picked up? Yep. So unless it's a magical place and I need to find where you're at, and the beer's cold and frosty still at 3 o'clock, and it's been out for 45 minutes. So unless it's a magical place, that's going to be the case. Yes.
Hi, this is Gabar San Antonio. I'm opposed to. Perception is that if we have an incident, combative or whatever, and we don't report it in, obviously we'll get fined. We get caught with that. But perception is that oftentimes our insurance company has access to those reports, like liability. That's what we're being told. So if some guys are saying, well, don't do it because our insurance will go up. It doesn't. Clarification. Thank you.
So the insurance companies don't have access to that unless they did an open records request.
Let's say you just had to kick somebody out and they wouldn't go, so you have to call the police to get them out.
That qualifies. So you kick someone out and they don't want to go, they're being a pain, and you end up calling the cops to eject them out, that qualifies. Okay? Because at the very least, you'll probably give them a criminal trespass warning if they really made you mad. So that qualifies as a breach. Did it cause a disturbance and interrupt your normal flow of business that night? Okay, so up until the moment when she called us, starting with the point she called you the B word, did she interrupt your business? No. Well, you ended up calling the cops, right? Okay, but so at that moment, did she interrupt your business? Did you have to stop what you were doing? You know, what's your Butch over here is now his beer's running dry and he's starting to get teary-eyed and crying, and because now you're having to take away from Butch to call the cops because she didn't want to leave. Did that interrupt your business? Was it a disturbance? Was it enough to make Butch stop crying in his beer, look up and realize why I'm not getting served? Yes. Okay. Oh, Butch, you need a hug?
How long have you known Butch?
He dressed me this morning. All right. Yes, ma'am.
Bartender doesn't get a chance to call the cops because somebody's over at the damn cell phone and they call them for you and you don't even know anything's going on because it's a little argument and then they call it and here comes the police and you go, "Hi, well, you called us." No, we didn't. Somebody else did.
So now that goes back to what he was kind of bringing up. So if that happens and the cops show up, they're going to tell you why they're there. It's simple. All you do is get that they have a CAD call number, no harm, no foul, they leave, whatever. Still tell us about it. It doesn't affect you guys when you report. It doesn't affect your permit. But it helps us, and now if this keeps occurring, then we're going to come back and go like, what's going on? You know? Yes, sir.
Member leaves the bar.
Okay.
He trips in the parking lot. He hits his head on his running board. The ambulance takes him away. Nobody in the bar knows about it. There's no outside cameras. They found out on social media the next day.
Okay. That one, no. Remember I said we're not worried about someone slipping and falling.
But he was asked to leave because he was intoxicated.
Now, if he was asked to
And
leave,
he was an officer of the bar committee.
so you just want to keep throwing logs in the fire.
I got a long list of them.
Okay. So in your scenario, how's the scar? Is it getting So on that one there, then the way that would come out, then yes, it would go back to failed to report the breach, and then we would start looking at how drunk was he, because he gets in the hospital, they're going to draw blood, and he's like hammered down. Then we're going to take that information, we're going to come back and go like, well, exactly. We'll start going backwards. Well, so they drew blood at an hour and a half after the ambulance picked him up from your parking lot because of .25. You know, you connect A to B. I'm going to say he probably got drunk at your place, and then if we have some other information, video, his credit card receipts, someone that giving a witness statement and puts it back, then yeah, that's going to be an easy one. Oh, we got an athlete who's here with YouTube. Yeah.
We don't sell alcohol at our post,
Okay.
but we have an event. How does that apply? We have an event and they bring their own booze in. It's a BYOB. They leave, they go home, you know, they're drunk, they get in a fight in the parking lot. We don't know anything about the fight in the parking lot because we're inside cleaning. How does that affect us? We don't have a permit to sell booze because we don't sell booze.
So the way that would affect y'all, because you don't have a permit, I'm out of the equation.
So
We don't care.
You wouldn't have to report the incident at all.
No, unless there was a violation of law, right. So you don't have to report it to us because you don't have a permit. This applies to people that have permits and sell alcohol. Everything else, that'd be civil litigation time, okay? Let's see, where we at? Oh, so company policies, checking IDs, what IDs you accept, how to refuse a sale. Guys, don't get confrontational. Someone wants to be a butt, call the cops.
Question?
Sure.
I've got a question. Our post leases out our grounds to another nonprofit organization for an annual event, and they sell beer with their permit. We don't have a permit.
Okay.
So
So
what kind of liability or?
TABC stuff would be looking at that nonprofit and their permit. If someone got injured or hurt or whatever else, we're not looking at that. That would be civil side. Because again, our focus is the permit. We're going after them. So if you guys have a permit, then we're not involved with you. We don't care. We're going to be looking at that nonprofit. Oh, let's see. How to deal with difficult customers, guys. Easiest way is someone wants to be confrontational with you. Do not get in their face. As hard as it is to resist that temptation, keep distance. Make sure you can see them. I know this sounds kind of Debbie Downer, but what kills you? Hands kill you, right? Keep distance, make distance, don't compress time, slow it down, call the cops. They want to get confrontational, have that phone in your hand. The moment you call 911, it's recording everything. It's that simple. You want to make it visible to this guy. Don't get in her face, don't start yelling at him. You know what? Back off, call the cops. That's why we get paid. Okay, let us handle it. Nothing good happens when you want to try to be the sheriff in your own place. Ask them to leave. They don't want to leave. Fine, tell them, you know what? You don't want to leave? I'm calling the cops. Fine, call the cops. Okay, 911. Cops show up. Let the cops deal with the guy. Yes.
Outside our post, we have the standard, you cannot bring weapons into the premises, so forth and so on. Late night we're open, we're handling a lot of cash. I have a concealed handgun license. Can I walk in that post with my concealed handgun license while they are checking out and closing the post?
Yes. The permit allows a person who is in charge of the location to be armed, regardless if they have a permit to carry or not. The permit allows for 8. It can't be like I had a liquor store here in town that had like 5 guns on the counter. It's 1. That also allows in the code for you to make a nightly deposit from that location while you're armed, even if you don't have a permit. The code allows for that, okay? So remember, it's what, how many? Right, can't go in there, all with everything. Go.
Bar manager has her license through you guys. 3-time convicted felon, aggravated assault, some of the worst ones, drug, transportation. Do y'all do background checks on anybody that gets their license or that are on the license at all?
If she's on the now, as far as we're talking about the certificate to sell, or we're talking about the permit itself. She can't be on there. She's a convicted felon. So that's an easy one. So she can't be on there. There you go. Yeah, I'll tell you why she can't be on there. You just keep opening the door. All right. So I get an idea on time, so I can compress some of this. Where are we at? What is my cutoff time?
35 minutes.
Okay, cool. There's a reason why I know we've gone off a lot of rabbit trails, so we'll compress it down a little bit. Guys, when you stop service to a minor intoxicated person, and I've been kind of glossing over this the whole time, first and foremost, you're protecting yourselves as an individual. Period. Because I'm sure most of y'all's post has insurance. You're going to be able to handle a lot of the liability issues if something bad happens. But individually, you're going to be on your own. If you guys sell to a minor, it's a year in jail, $4,000 fine. We make it ridiculously easy when we do minor things. Our cutoff age on our kids is 19. When they hit 19, they're aged out. We don't use them anymore. All right? We make it so because you don't have to do a lot of math. It's 3 years involved. They're going to have a vertical driver's license. Our kids are going to have their real and true Texas driver's license or Texas ID card. On the top, it's going to say under 21 until whatever that year is on their license. It's going to be the real legit. The kids, the girls don't have a lot of makeup. The guys, we don't use any big burly kids. If they have facial hair, we make them shave. We go so far as we'll tell them, hey, wear your high school shirt or your Letterman jacket. Oh my God, we make more cases that way. It's insane. It's nauseating. My daughter one night, I think she made like 9 cases out of 20 locations wearing a freaking San Marcos High School rapper band shirt on. And I was like, stop. She was like 16. It's like, we're like, stop. It's so bad as agents. We were all sitting on several cases apiece. We're sitting in the car. Who's going to get the next case? Doing rock, paper, scissors. No lie. So we make it easy. Take your time. Is there anything that says you have to sell to anybody? No. Remember, you can refuse service to anybody for any reason as long as you don't violate a legally protected class. If they look young, do you have to sell them? No. They present you an ID that looks kind of sketchy, do you have to? Now, can they still present to you a vertical ID and be over 21? Yes, because that date has nothing to do with the expiration cycle on your driver's license. All right, now, purchase alcohol or furnishing alcohol to a minor. Well, if someone does that, well, they're looking at the same thing, Class A misdemeanor. And now we're going to roll into the next part of this you guys are about to bring up. Minor possession or consumption, yeah, that's easy. That's a Class C ticket for them. There are exceptions. And I want you to follow the verbiage. A minor may, okay? Let's see, where's the point? Maybe not reach. There we go. May possess or consume an alcoholic beverage in the visible presence of a minor's adult parent, guardian, or spouse. If someone comes in there, do you have to allow it? No, because what's the law say? May. It's that simple. If you don't want to allow it, you don't have to. And I'm sure you get people, oh, they're my grandson, oh, they're my kid. And the law says, yeah, law says, and right there, it's what? May. Did I clear that up? Where we're going at it?
Well, you know, a lot of posts have service members that come back and they're for one.
Right.
They come back in with their parents, they want beer,
Right.
So if they're their parents, yeah, you can serve them, unless you serve that beer.
Exactly. He's exactly right, and that's how that works, is you serve the parent, the spouse, or guardian, and then they serve it to the minor. Now, the majority of places in my career, I'd say probably 97, 98% of places do not allow this to occur because of liability. If I went to your place, and my daughter at the time was 18, and you serve me, and I serve her, and after about 3 margaritas, Dad, I'm gonna go meet my friends and go shopping, and she's pulling out a parking lot and T-bones a car and kills somebody, did I violate the law as dad? No. Can I serve my kid? Yes. Did he violate the law? No. Who did he serve? He served me, I served my kid. Does the law allow him to do that? Yes. Now, it was his wife driving. Can he come back and sue him and me? See how that works? And the way that happens on that is TABC, we're going to like, well, you know, it's unfortunate, but we don't have any legal jurisdiction on this one because it was that person's kid. We're sorry. Civilly, though, can still come after everybody.
Yes.
Okay.
It normally happens in the case of a veteran coming in with the parent.
Right. And not to be too ugly, hey, I'm sorry, it's state law, state law. If you want to do that, go back on post. And even then, a lot of post commanders, base commanders now are not allowing. I'll get to you guys in a sec. I had him up first.
Legally, if you're an underage military and you're enlisted, there are rules that you can drink under the age on post and whatever. But the alcoholic content in a lot of their alcoholic beverages is a lot less than we serve at our canteens. So that means we are actually over-serving them if we would serve them an alcoholic beverage with more than 3.2.
So actually, you can't serve them, period.
Right.
Right. You can't serve them, period. But on post is totally different. And actually, I do know a lot of commanders now are not allowing it to occur anymore to serve under 21 because they were having too many crashes and things like that, and young servicemen and women getting hurt. So, yeah, because I'll leave post, and then that's when things go wrong. Oh, we were drinking at and then we left, and bad things happen. Right. Yes. So, over here.
Would you clear up the issue about in the presence of the parent? Parent goes, steps out on the patio to smoke a cigarette, goes to the restroom. Do you have to recover that drink from the child?
No. I know it says in the presence, but you have to understand, in the spirit of the law that was written to where it's not like a situation like we used to run into at Reliant. We used to get these, we go hammer them. And we get like in parking lot F, and hey, okay, oh, but my parents are here, where they're in parking lot A, that's half a mile that way, kid. That doesn't work. So that was the spirit of the law, is basically in the room, you're right there. Like, I step to go to the bathroom, okay, it's not like I'm gone for 30 minutes, I'll be right back. All right, now, Reliance Stadium situation over there, then that's totally different. No, visible presence, that means not like here. Yes, sir.
But in that same scenario, my daughter's in the canteen, I bought her something to drink, I go to the bathroom, she can't walk up to the bar and then order her.
No, she cannot. Because remember, I'm dad, I get served. You're dad, you get served, and then you serve her. She can't go and order her own drink. If she goes up and orders her own drink, then that's sale till minor. Well, that's what we were just talking about, is in the spirit of the law, that's not an issue. If she's sitting there with her drink and you go to the bathroom, we don't care about that. We're worried that the spirit of the law in that is a situation like tailgate, where you're in this parking lot and mom and dad are on the other side of the world somewhere. Yes, sir.
Can, I guess, minors under 21, I guess, can they serve?
Yes. They can serve, sell, and deliver alcoholic beverages at 18.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Will you be going over any of the veterans organizations and any of those procedures that we have to follow under TABC?
I can gloss over them, but I'm not super versed, and I'm basically just going to tell you what's in there. So,
okay.
She was asking if I could cover specifically the section of the code that covers this. Now, if there are some questions to it, I can probably answer some of that stuff for you, but as far as diving into the weirdo stuff, yeah. But it's pretty easy. Yeah, come back with me in a sec.
Okay.
Where we at, Jim? Yes, sir. Okay.
We hold events in our hall, and we were told that children under the age of a certain thing have to be out by 9 o'clock or whatever the case may be. But I also talked to another agent up in Arlington. He said, no, that is not TABC. What the rule is that that child cannot be sitting at a table that have alcoholic beverages on it without an adult sitting there at the same time. They can't get up and leave the child alone, go to the bathroom, whatever the case may be. The child cannot be sitting by themselves on the table with alcoholic beverages.
So, like I said, the spirit of the law, if I go to your place, I'm there with my daughter, and I've got to go pee, I got to go to the bathroom, and I go, we're not worried about that, because again, it goes back to the spirit of the law was, we are still here. Going to the bathroom, you're still there, okay? Well, the spirit of the law on that one was the whole, again, like that scenario, like tailgating, or quinceañeras or weddings or whatever, where they're like way on the other side and the kids have been over here and they're nowhere near mom and dad, or they're outside drinking and the party's going on inside. That's what the spirit of that law was. Where there's some kind of physical divider besides the bathroom, okay? That's a temporary instant. No one goes to the bathroom for an hour. Okay, well, I mean, it can happen. Yes, okay, we're talking, okay, in a public place. So you guys, are you getting with that? Now, as far as the time thing, there's no time thing. If there's a curfew, maybe because in that community there's a curfew, but in the code, there's nothing that says anything about age being a cutoff time, or, oh, all minors have to be out by 9 o'clock, or, well, let's touch another one, because I'm literally writing a list of all these wives' tales I've been hearing. Another one, oh, if you kids can't sit at the bar. Why not? I've done that all the time. A lot of times I go to Chili's, go somewhere else, there's nowhere else to sit. You guys gone to Pluckers? There's like never a table. Sit at the bar. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing that prohibits that. Now, if your house rules, that's your house rules. Okay? In the back. Okay.
All right, I'm going to get away from the minor and possession type deals, because I think if we're smart enough, our opposed to going above and beyond TABC's requirements, and we're just not going to allow it. My question to you is this, and it was asked by somebody that had to leave the room, and you may not be able to answer this, but we're going to talk about TABC licenses. If you've determined, or it's been determined by another federal agency or a state agency, that a post has violated some other law, let's say financing law or something in that nature, can TABC come in and revoke their license?
Yes.
Thank
So that would be, for instance, let's say you haven't paid taxes, your ad valorem taxes or whatever taxes to the state, and we can go in there and we can cancel your permit for cause if it's real serious, or like we do it all the time. Or a comptroller typically is going to be the one that goes out there first, and they're going to notify us. They're going to be like, hey, your post hasn't paid up, your canteen's behind on taxes, you guys owe to the tune of $50,000. So they're going to go out to you first, and they're basically go like, and this they'll do it. They'll inventory everything into place while they're discussing with you and tell you, look, here's the deal. We've inventoried everything of value in here. You owe $50,000. You have till this date to pay it up. And a lot of times, if you don't have a long history of that, they'll set up a payment plan. Now, worst case scenario, you don't pay. Comptroller calls us, and an agent will go back out with the comptroller's office, and they're going to shut you down and seize everything. Because I've been part of those. So that's typically how that'll roll in. But we're not going to be the lead agency on that. It's going to be that other entity, but we're going to accompany them because it is a licensed premise, and we're also state police officers. So that way, if something does go south, we can take action. Now, the follow-up part of that is if you are habitually issuing and having problems like this, we can protest your renewal and basically say, you know what, based on your past history, non-payment, blah blah blah, we're going to protest you renewing your permit, and we're not going to let you get another permit.
Wow.
I had him, and then we'll come up. Yes, sir.
Quick question. You said minor. What do they consider a minor with?
Hey, you and Kevin got to stop drinking together because this falling down over stuff is getting old.
Not necessarily you should, but what is by law the minor? You say minor could be the parent, but
right there.
No, but I mean, my kid, I take them in. They're 18 years old. I can serve them, right?
Your kid,
my kid.
Like,
but is there a limit on that? Just legally speaking. Yeah, if they're 10 years old or 15. What is legal?
Oh, now I'm going to make a lot of people mad. No, there isn't.
I didn't think it was.
There's not. Yeah. There is no age limit on that, guys. Welcome to Texas. It's kind of like you can carry a rifle into a bar and it's not a violation.
From our current location, will our license follow us? Do you grandfather our license to our new building, or do we have to apply for a new license at that location?
Okay, so on his, can you move your permit? Yes. You have to notify TABC, and then it's a change of address, and it can be done. You don't have to surrender the permit to get a new one. So basically what it is, you can carry it to a new address. Okay. There's some paperwork involved, but it's not terrible. Yes. And then it'll come. Oh, I'm sorry. You're gonna have to wait.
Good question. You, the TABC, is my understanding, you are the highest authority for alcohol retail sales.
In Texas?
Yes. Okay, I've got a lot of BS being told me that the Attorney General overrides you guys.
They can in some situations, depending on what the case is about, but they typically will not stick their fingers in our business. It has to be something incredible. In my career, I can't think of any one time, and if it was some deal with corporate manufacturers or distributors that was way, way outside
In
of
this
the
case, it's actually bringing in uninventoried liquor into your bar.
They could get involved in that one.
Because if we have a license, actually we're a closed bar, okay, and we have a license to have liquor, and then we have all the guys got TBC associations, and then we have a party, and we're not allowing bottles to come in from the outside.
Right.
That's our rule, our law, and that's how we're going to stay by it. But I'm being told that that's wrong, because Attorney General says you can't bring bottles into establishment.
Yes and no. So let me explain to you guys. If you have a liquor permit, so you guys sell distilled spirits, okay? So I'm trying to think on y'all's permit. It would be a private club permit, but you guys do the distilled spirits. On that permit, nothing on, nothing off. If he wants to have a wedding or reception or whatever at your place, and he wants some specific wine that you don't have, then he has to get with you, you have to get with the distributor, and then you order it so it's on your invoice. Now, if you guys just have a wine and beer permit, how many of y'all have those? So on a wine and beer permit, you guys can allow people to bring distilled spirits on the premises. You guys can also sell to go with your permit. okay? Because all they sell is wine and beer. But once you start doing the liquor side, nothing on, nothing off. The only exception to that is you can, the unconsumed portion of a bottle of wine can be removed if it was purchased with a meal. How many of y'all been to Olive Garden? What's the first thing they do? Hi, welcome to Olive Garden. This is our craptastic wine of the month. Would you like to try it, right? And you get about 2 drinks into it, and you're like, I wouldn't even put this on salad, but you're stuck with it. And then so they cork it, and then you can take that nastiness home with you, okay? That's the only time we allow alcoholic beverages removed from a mixed beverage permit. We can get really weird if you also have like a brew pub, and you can buy a growler of beer, but that, for simple black and white, that's how that works, guys. Did that help? Did that answer? Yes? Okay.
Okay, what about if it's for, let's say, raffle packages? Let's say somebody wants to come in and we're having an event and they want to raffle off bottles and in a gift package.
It still has to be on your inventory.
Okay.
They're saying you can't do baskets or chairs?
I used to be the person that called the 800 number at TABC to ask questions, and you all should write that number down, because if you're ever in doubt, call, they will give you an answer.
1-888-TABC.
And, but I called about raffling liquor, and they told me that it had to be in a concealed package. Like it could, someone could, yes, it had to be closed. Someone couldn't come up and just grab a bottle out of that basket, and that it was not, that it, as soon as someone won it, it had to be removed from the premises. They could not consume any of it.
Right. But again, it goes back to the type of permit. On a wine and beer retail, if you guys just do wine and beer, yes. If you guys do liquor, then it gets really weird on that, and typically we're going to say no.
So a question about the inspection of the premises and the premises itself. Because I'm seeing them fewer, it's been a while since I've done an inspection, but I'm seeing it fewer and fewer. Is it still a requirement to have the premises mapped next to your permit?
No.
No?
The only time it's required to have it mapped is if you guys have like one half is your canteen, and then the other half of the building is not, where it's just like a reception hall, but you guys don't sell on that side, you just rent it out. Then you have to have a diagram, but it doesn't have to be posted next to the permit. But it has to be on file with us.
And who can perform inspections of TABC?
So, for as far as inspections, guys, and that's a good one, thank you. Inspections can be done by any TABC agent or officer. So that can be one of our auditors, an enforcement agent, or any legal representative that has some kind of business there. So Harris County Sheriff's Office can do a walkthrough in your place. The fire marshal, the health department, even Parks and Wildlife, if they want to go through there, all right? Or DPS. They have every legal right to go in there. And it's on the permit. If you guys are ever wondering, it's printed on the permit that they have access to that place at any time. So if there's a warrant body inside, let them in. The moment you tell them no, I guarantee you they're going to call us, because I teach the local law enforcement agency around here. I tell them, the moment they tell you no, that you can't go in there, you call TABC, and we're going to be over there and issue them a citation or an administrative case for an inspection refusal. Let's see, you and then you. So, oh, I'm sorry. Him, I missed him from our, yes, sir.
Okay, if a post has a wine and beer license, and you rent the place, or bad word, and can they bring beer and wine into your establishment?
If you have a wine and beer permit, yes.
They can bring coolers in.
They can bring
We've been told we couldn't.
They can. On a wine, the way the law is written on that, for a wine and beer retailer, if that's all you do, you don't do liquor, they can bring or remove their own alcohol.
I'm talking about beer and wine.
Yes, I'm saying beer, wine, distilled
Can
spirit,
we
yes.
put a rule into that effect in?
That prohibits them? Certainly, it's your house. Because that cuts into your profit, that cuts into your money. So the majority of places like that, they don't allow people to bring in outside beer and wine for that reason. And a lot of those, what they'll do is they'll sell like, okay, you can't bring your own beer and wine, but if you bring your own Jack Daniels and then you buy the setups for me. So, and yours. So, oh no, I'm sorry, hold on, he's next, then you.
I just want to clarify something on that. You were talking about the alcohol. coming into the post from the outside. If you're doing a raffle and you have a basket with liquor in it and you're raffling that basket off and it's concealed under plastic and whatever, can they bring that in from the outside, or does the post have to purchase it and then let them do it?
That's going to be depending on the type of permit that you have. And typically, and so, like I said, on the other part of that, then it all depends on whether or not on that permit. So that's why it's not a super easy answer to give you on that one. Because then you kind of fall into the charitable events, but the issue lies in what kind of permit you got. Okay, so if you're doing a raffle and someone's bringing distilled spirits that aren't on your invoice, then that's going to be a violation. On a wine at your place, we don't care, you can do that. It's not going to be a problem with that one.
Can we get a...
Information if they bring liquor into your house, if they're not purchased by the public?
Depends what permit you have. It's permit dependent. Do you guys sell liquor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then nothing in, nothing off.
So just a little bit of clarification also on we have a beer and wine permit, right? Going to the raffles. Does it have to be concealed? What are the rules of the raffle? We can just put a bottle out there and say, we're raffling off this bottle.
Right. Now, as far as some of the answers you've been given, this is one of those things where you end up in, we're such a large state, and some parts of the state, they lose their minds over that stuff. Here in Austin, we're kind of like, we'll make it easy. Nothing on, nothing off if you sell liquor.
If you're beer and wine, you can just put a bottle out there and raffle it off.
Yes.
Yeah. Just try to get clarified, because we do a lot of fundraising.
Because that whole difference, guys, the dividing line is that the liquor and the beer and wine. Beer and wine allows you to bring on or remove. The liquor, everything's got to be invoiced. Oh, I'm sorry. Whoa, hold on. I missed him. I missed these two guys.
Question is, with a beer and wine permit, if you have some donated beer or wine that didn't come through one of your distributors, can you raffle that off?
Okay, so as the canteen, no. As a post, yes. Does that make, I know that you're looking at me like deer in headlights. It gets that fuzzy because it kind of goes back like he was bringing up. You have the post and then you have the canteen. If it's the post that brought it in, then we're going to allow it. If it's the canteen side that has it, no, because again, it's got to be on the invoice.
Clarification, I know it's good. Beer and wine permit, get a donated basket of booze, raffle off.
But you remember, it's that dividing line, post and canteen. Okay.
Are you going to hand out paperwork for this, presentation, or is there anywhere online we can get this? Because I don't think you're going to get through the whole presentation.
I'm getting up near the end because I'm not going to cover like driver's licenses and IDs, and we're about to just roll into drive shop liability anyhow.
Yeah, but some of that stuff we want to see is, can we?
Yeah, I can give it to y'all. If y'all have a thumb drive, I'll load it onto y'all for you.
Take the TABC class, 20 bucks, 2 hours.
Yeah, or go to our regional offices and we get this like free.
Okay.
I'll give it to you in a sec. We'll do it here after. But okay, we're over here somewhere. I have one. Yes, sir. Or who is next? I'm sorry. Do y'all want it rock, paper, scissors, or throw down right here? Get it off.
The question I have is just a moment ago you were talking about, I believe you said it's okay for, if you had a wine and beer permit, you could do the raffle. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. The deal is you didn't define permit. If the permit, you keep saying canteen, if the permit is just for the canteen, which is a 10 by 15 area, or is it the post, which is 30 by 40 area, or is it the whole property, which is 2.5 acres? That's what I'm...
So, and to clarify this, kind of jumps back a little bit on the diagramming stuff. By and large, a permit is going to cover the entire, when I say permit, that's typically the entire grounds, the building and all appurtenances, okay? outbuildings, everything that's on that property. Now, what you can't have is diagrammed off. Like a lot of y'all's places have, where this has a canteen and the other half is diagrammed off. We don't have a permit for that side because we just rent it out for people to use for whatever. So you just have to submit a diagram out to TABC and then we'll exclude that area out.
Our permit are 2 acres.
So then that would cover your whole 2 acres. Right.
So we can't bring in liquor. We have a full-blown license.
So then nothing on within those 2 acres, right? Right. Yes.
I have something to say. Under section 32.15, removal of beverages from premise is covered under private lounges. I know we want to download this on the thumb drive. I know we already have. And some members confuse when they say we're going to the Legion, they automatically think we're going to a bar. Some Legion posts have a bar club. Some do not. Okay? So the Legion that has a bar club is fortunate to have one because it is not easy to get a permit. Okay, so if you want to clarify some misunderstandings, you want to look at this a little bit more, you can talk to our legal beagles that are part of the department. But if you go to section 32.15 and 32.16, it covers membership, permits, licenses, what you can do, what you can't do. It's all black and white. I know because I read this. I have 3 of my officers and myself on that TAB listing, so we cover each other's butts so we can look over each other, so that nothing happens. We don't have people knocking on the door at 2 o'clock in the morning. You know, we have on the after hour. If minors come in, we watch them closely. Okay, but you can make your own house rules. But to clarify some of these questions, it's online. The paper copy of this looks like this.
Hey guys, if you guys ever want to, our entire code and rules is online. You can download it, it's easy. Or if you want a hard copy, go to your local TABC office, and new ones just came out. They're thick and bright orange this time.
I have a comment. When y'all were talking about whether alcohol could be brought in or out, it's 32.15, and it says here, a private club, irrespective of location or system or storage, may not permit any person to remove any alcoholic beverages from the premises. For a private club.
So that qualifies for a lot of y'all, because you guys run by membership, so you're a private club. Yes?
I have one question. So for example, you know, we do a lot of events to support veterans, say Veteran Day ceremony, things like that. So if I go out and get sponsored USAA or whatever, and they provide funds or product for veterans for free at no cost, does that need to be purchased through the canteen and be on inventory or not?
Yes, because you have a permit. Everything has to be on invoice.
What happens when we buy, we purchase, we get a little sticker on it.
Right.
If they take that out, that liquor, and put it in a basket, when does that sticker come off there and be scratched
The
off?
moment you set that in that basket, let's see, that's where it gets weird, because we start diving off into that weirdness stuff. That would be like, one time, typically, that'd be bottle service. And you mutilate that stamp and then it's sold. Now we go back to with the charities and all that. For those of y'all, and we can do this, maybe I can get a hold of one of our licensing specialists, and they can answer a lot of that. Because a lot of, on the enforcement side, guys, we don't deal with a lot of that weirdness. A lot of those phone calls, we send them straight to our licensing people, because they're the ones who issue out those permits for that. Real quick, and I'm going to dive into it because I know I'm pretty much up against the wall in time. Any weird stuff, guys, that on the stuff we've kind of gone over, then we'll come after I'm done. I want to cover this bit here. So, you guys sell an intoxicated person. The fine isn't that big, y'all. It's a year in jail, $500 fine. Here in Travis County, we very seldom ever see prosecutions on this stuff. What you have to worry about on this is really going to be the dram shop liability sides of it. So, did you? But that was 83. But here in Travis, very seldom. I do disposition checks, and they very seldom ever prosecute bartenders for that stuff. The problem with that is it's going to the dram shop liability. You guys failed to intervene. You failed to do something. It's something I've been bringing up over and over and over. Don't worry about TABC on this stuff. It's the civil litigation. Make sure you're monitoring. One of the cases I always bring up is a case I worked here in Austin a couple years ago. Guy went into a bar, it was about 4:45 in the afternoon. He was there for about an hour and 15 minutes. In that time, He was served 3 beers and 4 shots of tequila. He left out of there, and there's an area over here just not too far South Park Meadows. There's a kind of a green belt. He's back there four-wheeling, and some kids from Hayes High School, which is here between Column Butte, were up there mountain biking, and they knew each other from being back there before, and they're like, hey, you want to jump in and go muddy? They're kids, they're 16, they don't know no better. Yeah, sure, they jump in. Guy loses control, Jeep flips, kid in the front seat's partially ejected out. Jeep lands on a kid, Jeep catches fire, and kid dies, 16. His PAC, 3 hours after the crash, was still .12. When I interrogated the bartender, and I asked her, I said, it did not occur to you that he was intoxicated, he was still climbing, he was still metabolizing. She looks at me and she says, what does that mean? I go, that means he didn't magically come sober when he left your door. He wasn't even drunk yet, exactly what I told her. Your alcohol was still climbing, he was still metabolizing, he was still absorbing it. Based on our numbers, extrapolating backwards based on his age and weight and amount he consumed, we estimated he was probably about a .22 to a .24 while he was in the back of the police car. And he was probably about a .12 to 1.4 when the crash happened. So I'm waiting, I don't hear nothing. Civil litigation, we've already handled it. We fined the bar like $13,000 and a whole bunch of other mess. I'm waiting, I don't hear nothing. And then I get a phone call from the attorney representing the kid's family, asking about how I can get a copy of the case, I give information, contact legal, do open records. Here's my information, get a hold of me if you need me to testify. I said, I'm just wondering, so what are y'all gonna do? He says, we're going for $2 million apiece. $2 million after the bartender, $2 million after the bar, and $2 million after the driver of the Jeep. By the time it was said and done, they settled out at about $1 million apiece on us. She made about $6.30 in tip for $1 million lawsuit. That's how that plays out. I know it's a Debbie Downer to end on, but this is what it all boils down to, guys. Yeah, it's all well and good and having a great time and everybody's laughing and kicking back and drinking beer, but in the end, sometimes circumstances occur.
And I don't know any post liability or any post insurance that's going to cover employees, officers, civilly. They're just not going to hire you an attorney. They cover the post, they don't cover employees.
He's right. Most places you're going to be on your own, guys, to take care of the end. The post is going to save itself.
I just have one more question. And
Certainly.
I think you might have said it earlier, but I want to make sure. So TABC certification to be a server is not a requirement by law, but it's kind of like we're self-compliant. If I am a bartender and I have my certification and something happens, isn't part of that to protect the bar, the TABC, I know not the civil?
That falls under this, the safe harbor.
But if I become the valuable person because I have the certification,
No.
on the TABC.
The seller server certification only helps in safe harbor cases for seller minors and seller intox. And even then, it doesn't affect the individual. It saves the permit.
That's what
So if you sold,
I did it, then it's my fault, not the.
right. Now, what ends up on that though, is it still a bar and do they still carry liability? Does the permit still carry? Yes. But if everybody was seller server trained, you had policies posted, everybody signed off on the policies, all new employees were anybody more than 30 days there has already gone through seller server training, everybody's seller server certificates were up to date, then you get safe harbor. And it's only for cell intox and cell minor cases. Okay. Now that doesn't preclude if it's aggravated enough, our administrator can still come back and go, nope, we're going to drop a case on you anyway, and safe harbor's out the window.
Earlier you said about 15 minutes ago, somebody could come in and donate a bottle of wine, then they could be able to sell the wine. Is that true?
No. They can't donate it and sell it. It has to be on the invoice.
Okay, now, what about say if I'm a bartender at no, I'm not, but I don't even drink, but anyway, if I wanted to enhance my revenue, I go to HEB and buy 24 lights.
I'll stop you right there.
And,
No.
no, and then I sell those on to enhance my
No, you
profit.
can't. You cannot do it.
But that happens.
One retailer cannot purchase from another retailer. That's purchase away from the distributor, and it's a violation of the 3-tier code, and then that's a hefty administrative case against your place. Yeah.
Because I know that happens.
Because the auditors go through there and they start figuring that stuff out, or even I've made cases for that, where I've gone through and found receipts from Fiesta or HEB for beer. Or I have followed trucks out of Sam's Club with a pallet full of beer in the back and followed them to a bar, and then dropped a case and then seized the beer. You want to talk about making bosses mad about where you're going to put a pallet of beer? Much less having to lug it upstairs? Yeah, good times.
Is there any differentiation? Let's see that for my old post, what we did is we got rid of all of our hired bartenders, and we all were volunteer bartenders to save that revenue. Is there any differentiation, like requirements or liability if you're a volunteer versus an employee? All servant. Okay.
No, because that goes right back to like the second or third slide. Any agent, servant, or employee. So regardless if you're paid or not, you're still fall under the definition. So that's way back here at the beginning somewhere. There.
No, I got it.
Yeah. Okay. That's good, guys. If you have some other questions, I'm going to hang out and then we can go from there because I think I'm up against the wall, right?